In this video, I'm going to go over how to use MyFitnessPal with the latest update in 2022. So it looks quite different over the years, but still a very fantastic app for tracking your food, obviously, and flexible dieting. So what we're going to do first is go to the bottom area and go all the way to the right and click on More. And here you can set up your profile if you wish, and a few other things. But the first thing I want you to do is to go to Settings, click Profile, and then ensure that your units at the bottom there is set to kilograms and also set to calories, not kilojoules. So we want it to be calories just because tracking your calories is far easier than tracking your kilojoules, since most foods list calories instead. Now, the main part that we want to, or the main areas that we want to focus on with MyFitnessPal, because there are a lot of things you can look at and play with. Essentially, the main thing we want to focus on is tracking your food. And at the bottom area, we've got diary on the second to the left there. And you can track in what you've eaten. So far, I've tracked in my breakfast today. And to track in your food, it's very simple. You just click Add Food. Here, you can type in anything you like. So maybe I want to add in chicken breast. And over here, it's giving me some history of foods that I've used previously, which is great. But if you're brand new to using the app, it's not going to have any foods there. So you have to type it in, chicken breast, click search, and it's going to come up with a whole bunch of different foods you can select. Now, if we are tracking our food accurately, we're going to be tracking it in its raw format or type, or raw state, I should say, sorry. So if I type in chicken breast, I want to type in raw as well. And if I tap the first one, typically with a green tick, it means that it's accurate. However, we can't always be sure that that's going to be true. So you do have to understand or learn the nutrient content of various foods from different resources. CalorieKing.com.au is a great Australian database which gives us all the information about food content or calorie content of various foods. But essentially what we look at here is 100 grams is listed, and it says here that it's 31 grams of protein. This has a green tick, which means that it's accurate. However, as a nutritionist, I know that is actually inaccurate. 31 grams of protein is actually, for 100 grams of chicken breast, is actually its cooked state, not its raw state. So this is an error on MyFitnessPal, and there are quite a few errors across the database, which does make it a bit more challenging. However, it's still a great app, and once we can get past these things or figure these things out, we will get great results, and it will be a great tool to essentially just track your intake to ensure that we are hitting the goals that we've got planned. So a better way to do this is to type in chicken breast and then type in NUTTAB, which means nutrition table. Click search, and now it's going to come up the first one there, chicken breast nut tab, 100 grams, 22.3 grams of protein, which I know to be accurate. So anytime you type in nut tab, you add nut tab to a food source, it's going to find the correct information for you. So I could do the same thing with banana, for example. Nut tab is listed there. I know that is accurate. If I only eat 60 grams of banana, I want to change my serving size to 1 gram. And serving size here, press 60 and click yes. And now it's down to 60 grams. Then you click the plus button, and that's going to add that food. And that's right there. It's added it twice because sometimes it will just add it in when you change the measurement. So I can swipe across like that, swipe left, and delete one if I'm not going to have that. You can go back here again. I can add another food if I like, or I can scan a barcode as well. So if you have a barcode, you can go ahead and scan that, and that will come up with the food information as well. I don't have one on me right now, but if you scan a barcode with a food source, it will come up with that information, and you can type that in straight away. Very simple. So what we do is we populate our day with foods that we've consumed, and essentially a better approach is to track foods in ahead of time before you actually eat them to ensure that we hit your nutrient targets per day. Now on the top left-hand side here, we've got goals in calories, but we've also got food as well. So if I tap that food number right there, it's going to show me how much protein, carbohydrates, fiber, sugar, fat, etc. that I've consumed so far, and also my goal and how much I have left. So if we focus on hitting our goal each day, we're going to get the best results possible. Sometimes this will be viewed in a different way, where it might be like this, or it might be like this. Essentially, we want to click on nutrients and day view, not week view, and track this day to day as we go. Mostly we're focusing on hitting a protein target, a carbohydrate target, a fiber target, and a fat target as well. Now, at the end of the week, when you want to show me your progress or you want to see how consistent you've been with tracking your food across the week, you can click on the right-hand side macros, then click day view and change that to a week view, and it's going to show the graph of how consistent you've been. If you tap on it, it'll show the calories consumed, etc. So essentially we want to see a whole week of tracked food day to day, with the yellow showing protein, the purple showing fat, and the green showing carbohydrate. Ideally, again, having the same amount of protein, carbs, and fats across the week on this graph. And this is the graph that you will screenshot like that and send to me with your weekly check-in. So that is pretty much the basics. Now, if I go back to the bottom section of this tab and you click more again, if we click goals, this is where you can actually type in how many calories you want to aim for. So you can go to the nutrition goals section right there and type in the calorie target that I've given you, and then adjust the protein, carbs, and fats to suit that goal. Now, if you don't pay for the premium option of MyFitnessPal, you can't select carbs, protein, and fat in grams, only in percentages. But that's totally fine. You know what your goal is in terms of your macros and your calories. You don't always have to set it up here. However, it can be useful to do that. I've used the premium version before, which is why it allows me to choose grams instead of percentage. But yeah, in most cases, if you're not using premium, you're going to have to do it based on percent. And you can set up the carbs, protein, and fat on a percentage basis, but getting it as close to the grams as possible that I recommend for you. Now, there are some other things you can think about with MyFitnessPal. It can also track your steps if you add different devices, etc. If I go back to the diary again, on the top right hand side here, it says exercise. And with that, if you do connect some kind of exercise tracking device, it will tell you how many calories you've burned, and it will adjust how much food you should eat because of the calories that you've burnt. We do not want to attach any exercise devices to your nutrition app. We want to use it solely for nutrition, because we don't want this app to tell you to eat more because you were more active or less because you were less active. We've got your set nutritional protocols that I've set for you, and we're going to keep it at that. So only set up your food, and that is pretty much it. So that is essentially the basics of MyFitnessPal. There are some other things here I'm just switching through right now, but if you want to follow people, you can do that. You can view the foods that they've been eating as well. If you want to, support each other or get some information or get some inspo from other people, there are some articles as well that you can look at, or plans, I guess. And that is pretty much it. I wanted to keep this nice and simple and straightforward. One other thing I can show you is my meals, recipes, and foods. So you can actually create your own meals. I've done many over the years. Obviously, look, this one here is a 10,000 calorie challenge that I had set up, and it's a whole bunch of different foods. So the advantage of adding in your own foods is that they are accurate to what you know to be true. And then adding your own meals just makes it very convenient. So if I go back to the diary here and I go to tomorrow and click add food, you can easily click my meals and select any of them. So I can select this breakfast, which is whatever it is, add it, and it will be added as meal 1 for tomorrow. I can click on food here and I can see exactly what it comes up with in terms of protein, carbs, fats, and fiber, etc. And maybe I want to eat the same food every day. So I'm just going to click edit here, select all, and delete that. One other thing you can do is you can create meals or meal plans on MyFitnessPal by just typing in the food that you want to have, put it all into your database for the day. So maybe I'm going to add some more stuff here. Maybe I will add chicken breast again, the nut tab 1. And maybe I'll add some rice, so basmati rice. Woolworths 1 is the one that I tend to use the most, 250 grams for a meal, and vegetables, etc. So maybe I've added everything in there already, and all you have to do is click edit, select all, save meal, and I can say full day meal plan and call it whatever I want, favorite plan or something like that, right? And then click save. That is saved. Tomorrow, I can easily eat the same thing and plan the same thing and track in the same thing by clicking add food, my meals, full day meal plan, favorite, add it in, and it's all accounted for tomorrow as well. Obviously, that's not my meal plan, but that's just an example of how you can do it. So what you want to do is essentially put foods in that you want to eat, and then go in and adjust the nutrient information or the quantities of each food to then get as close as you can to the goal calorie or macronutrient targets that you've got set for you. So that's pretty much the easiest way to set up a meal plan for yourself, is just to put in the foods that you like for each meal and then adjust the measurements or the quantities of each food source to make sure it's enjoyable, but then also make sure that you reach the nutrient targets for the day. Ideally, trying to get within 5 grams of each target for protein, carbs, and fat. If you're a little bit short, it's totally fine, but that is essentially what we're looking to do to get the most optimal results possible. And that is essentially how to use MyFitnessPal.